Testing. What do you do, everybody? We're here. Livestream 38. It's going down. We have lots of submissions. We're going to see exactly what's good, who's good, and what's popping. Get in the chat. Say what's up. Submissions are closed right now. We have a little bit more than 20. We're going to get into it. You know what I mean? Looks like we had some people submit twice. And some submissions were broken. So we got to keep that in mind. Right now we have exactly 20 submissions. So these are the ones we're running with. Up first, we have Jackson coming in with Whiplash. Naturally, Whiplash. Should be a neck breaker, I would assume, yes? Okay. While listening, we're going to monitor LUFS, loudness, levels. We're going to monitor stereo image. We're also going to monitor structure, flow, layering, sound design. We're going to see what's good with your song. Let's get into it. Dum, dum, ding, ding. That's cool with the bass guitar. So, this adds nice. This adds good dark, you know, deep energy to the song, which is much needed because that blends in well with the sick drop. In the drop, I do like the sub. If you listen, we have a really nice sub, but the thing is we have so many of these low, mid, and low frequencies playing at the same time that we're starting to get a lot of mud build up. Mud is like 100 hertz to 400 hertz, I would say. Look at this EQ here. When all these frequencies build up, it starts to sound, how you say in English, like a shit. So what I always teach is anything 100 and below, basically. So if you're at 100, and then anything below that would just be one sub. You layer one time. But anything above, right next to those lows, these are the low mids. Got to be really careful with the buildup of these. So just make sure that you're cutting pretty well. Like if we were to cut at 175 instead of 100, that makes a huge difference in that mud buildup. Most of your sounds would probably be cut a little more, maybe like 200, because like the least amount of sounds building up here. We still want there to be character and body. We need frequencies to be playing here. You just have to find that perfect balance. Right now you can tell there's a lot of build up there. You can just move things in the stereo image too to fit them in the mix. If everything's in the middle, mono, playing this frequency, you can spread some stuff out to the sides and that can create some space too. Oh, no bass. Hold up. Sounds cool. The sustain in the back though sounds very tiny, I guess I would say. You could definitely add some girth to that and make it a little bit louder and try to fit that in a little bit better to add energy. Right now it's just like a background noise when it could be keeping the energy going throughout the drop. So yeah, good job though. This is pretty heavy and make the club kind of freak out. I like the drums and the claps too. Very nice. All right, cool. That's Jackson, naturally coming in with some heat, with whiplash. The lashes have been whipped. Now, we move on to dreams. Database corrupted. Ah, yes. Wait. It's not here. This is a broken link. It's a broken link. This is also a broken link. Ouija. Ouija coming in with Zaza. Free download. Check out cover art. Naturally. Granny. Naturally. Okay, let's get it done. Get it done. Yo, 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 yo.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Ready? Bye-bye. Just a catch up, man. They're now Pokemon cards all stream. First one up. First one up. Low kicks. Just answer the question. Who is the grandfather of dubstep? My hands are cold. Oh, hi. Yeah, this is Zaza. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's Ouija coming in with Zaza, naturally, you know. We have some rhythm function things going on, and I appreciate it. But there's definitely a lot of things that we can do in this song to make it higher energy, to make it flow better. Because right now, unfortunately, the song is very repetitive. The main bass lead is doing the same, you know, phrasing, bump, 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 like the same rhythm the whole time. And you tease it before the drop and play it during the drop. So then the drop, it becomes less impactful because we already heard the same synth lead. Now, usually what people do is they would play the synth lead with an instrument that's like lower intensity. And then when you get to the drop, you layer that same rhythm and instrument so it sounds bigger, so it has more frequencies playing, so it's thicker and fuller. And then you can get away with playing the same exact melody line, melody loop, you know. But just got to be careful because it could still sound repetitive. But doing that trick of layering, you know, layering your lows, mids, highs with that, that would help a lot. Because if you listen right now, it sounds like it's not full. The main, there's the sub, then we have like some highs, or just no beefy lows in the middle. No Angus beef in the middle, man. You gotta go to the supermarket, pick up some of that Angus beef. You gotta put it in here. It sounds like you kind of washed out the main lead with reverb and we're like losing it. It's like stereo. There's nothing in the middle anymore. You want to make sure you add beef in the frequency spectrum and in the stereo image. Make sure there's monos filled. Make sure you got the mid frequencies filled as well. You can add another layer. Just keep layering to do this. Don't just keep adding effects. You're making EDM, so there's a lot of layers involved. If you find a good sound, keep layering it. Then you form a new sound with all your layers. And you layer based on lows, mids, highs. And you layer based on middle and sides, which is mono and stereo. It's gonna change. It'll change your life, my guy. That's Zaza by Ouija. Up next, we have Endless Boss 22 Mastering Experiment. Oh, you're doing an experiment on a master, Billy, huh? You see? Okay. Well, we'll see if your experiment went successful. What we're looking for, what is a master, you should say. School, they taught me basically. Whenever you make your song, you can send it to a mastering engineer. This is back in the day, before computers, by the way. It was like 70s through 90s. You send it to a mastering engineer, they're like, oh, I got my song, and I got it in all the tracks. He has drums separate, melody separate, the bass is separate, everything's separated so he can make them louder and then balance out the volume levels. And he uses compression to make things louder on individual tracks. But then on the master track, that's where everything's coming together. Before the master track, there's buses, stereo buses, different types of busing techniques so that the signals get organized before sent to the master. This is all to preserve dynamics. Dynamics is from loud to soft. If you just put a compressor on the master, you make everything loud, dynamics are gone. That's the main common issue. So that's what we're looking for. Are the dynamics gone? Visually, you'll be able to see it would look like a brick, you know what I mean? And it doesn't look like a brick. You'll see there's differences in the loud parts and then some quiet sections here. See these quieter sections. Now also, you don't see complete, like it's like these drums are pretty much hitting the peak. Maybe this is the quietest section. So it does look pretty compressed. There should be sections like this. See over here in limbo, right? We have some quiet sections, then it gets loud. That's what's difficult to do, to preserve quiet and loudness and make it sound clean. So that's what we're listening for. That's what we're looking for. And then we're looking for the levels of the loudness, your LUFS, how loud it actually is. If it's too quiet, won't work. If it's too loud, won't work. And then image, stereo, mono, part of the mix. We check all this. This part of the master. Let's get it done. Kind of like Daffy Duck, kind of. Robotic Daffy. Robo Daffy. Hold up. Bomba clap. Bomba. Bomba clap. Ooh. Shush it. Shush it. Again. Try again. All right, there we go with the in-boss remix 22. Parentheses mastering experiment by no one other than Billy. Billy. All right, then. So this is pretty good, right? We have lots of things going right in this. We have a couple things going out of control in this though. So we're going to go over that. Basically, when I was going over the mastering earlier, I did not mention there's one thing we have to take control over, and that's space in the mix, which is the reverb. In school, they taught us that when you listen to sound, it's like a sphere, a 360 sphere. Volume is up and down, right? Stereo width is side, left and right. But then space is the width. Like how how big it is, you know? So if you use too much space, you can drown it out. And it sounds almost like warehouse techno. Warehouse techno is meant to be drowned out, to sound like it's in a huge room. Tearout is also using this space. In my previous video, you can see I use so many reverbs to achieve the space needed to sound big. But you can't just like throw on reverb. It can get out of control really fast. So you have to be in full control of the decay time and the dry and wet. And you have to be in full control over your sound not getting drowned out. If you just add the reverb to it, it's only reverb, and then we lose, because the reverb makes it stereo. So if you too much verb, it's only stereo and there's no more mono signal. We need that mono signal that we can feel it and hear it. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, at the beginning of the drop, it's only stereo. So there's like empty space, open room available in the middle of the mix where the sub is. And it shouldn't be empty like that, especially at the beginning of your drop. It should be full and complete. When we get to later sections, we have the fast, like fast little laser gun. That then starts to control more of the mono mix and it starts to sound more full. But even that sound has reverb on it. So now we're like multiplying all the reverbs together. And this just becomes a crowded reverb space. And you can feel it. And because of that, it lowers the impact, lowers the energy of what could be a super high energy song. And this would be easy fixes, you know, parallel processing and reverb, side chaining your reverb, and doing different techniques where you're using short decay time. Never go more than a second, like for real. You can add multiple reverbs, but keep them all around like 600 milliseconds and they'll be clean. And use convolution reverb to keep it even cleaner. It'll help a lot. Also, the space in this section is the most out of control. This section is just where you need to focus more on like filling up that mono space, filling up what's in the middle. With your main lead, that main lead should be in the middle and it should be spread to the sides with reverb as it is currently. Show Billy. Up next we have Unspoken by C8O. I've emotionally recovered. I'm ready for this one to get ripped on. Laugh on laugh. I think that's what that means. Let's get it done. Skrillex vibes right off the rippy. Yeah. That is Unspoken by C8. Oh, interesting submission, I may say. This is nice and trappy. Right off the rip, I'm feeling like I'm in Skrillex's realm dungeon, being attacked by frequencies of the vocal. Just listen. The looping, the side chaining of the vocals, the high pitching, the high complex pro pitching, very nice. This really feels like some old Jack Hughes stuff, you know what I mean? It's slow though, you know, it's pretty slow trap music. I want you to understand something. When you make a song in 140, that doesn't necessarily mean that your song is in 140. Because when you make a song, you could accidentally write your rhythms and everything to make the person dance in halftime. If you're dancing in full time, which is 140, you would be dancing. You would be dancing to 1, 2, 3, 4 every beat, right? That's how your head would be moving, essentially. Boom, boom, boom. 70 would be half. It'd be like boom, boom, boom. When you listen to this song, that's what's essentially happening. We're dancing a halftime rhythm, which means it's a slow song. Oh, Jesus. So like, you're dancing like this to this song, just half the speed. You might have made this in like 130, 135, 140. Nevertheless, we're dancing to half of that. And if you're trying to make dance music, right? I'm not saying you have to do this. Regular music is not fast electronic dance music. But if you're trying to make dance music for the festivals and the clubs and people to dance to, they would have, psychologically, they wouldn't know what to do with this because they would be dancing half the speed and they would be looking for something faster. But to be honest, this isn't a great song. This is a really good song because there's so much feeling and emotion and it's good. And sections like this where you can bring me back in time, make me feel like I felt when I listened to the A$AP Rocky. It's Long Live A$AP, you know, it's just changed my life, man. And this is the stuff like they used to do. It's just super wavy. It's just beautiful. So I applaud you. Good job. This sounds great. Everything sounds in key and it's nice. Harmony, song structure's there. But energy levels, like I said, could be much, much higher if you focused on making your rhythms and stuff fast and then maybe slowing it down. It's really common for the majority of your song to be full-time, 140, and then you slow it down to 70 in some sections. Then you go back and forth. That's what bands do all the time. So the bands will go double time as well. The drummers will go freaking double time. So crazy, man. Imagine drumming at 1 billion. Only drummers, man. Only drummers. All right, guys. Up next, we have Mahal with Limbo. Let's get it done. There's Aquafina. a Happy Gilmore sample? Where is it? I'm tripping. I don't hear no Happy Gilmore sample. Alright, for sure. That was Mahal coming in with Limbo. I feel like I've heard this song before from you, but we're gonna go over this one right here, because you might have been working on it, you know what I mean? This might be the most recent version. Sometimes. I feel like the last time I heard it, it didn't sound like this. It sounded a little bit better last time. The reason this time it sounds different is because there's too much extra space, too much extra background noise going on in the background that it takes away from the main leads. You're kind of more focused on all this extra space and atmosphere in the background. On top of that, there's a lot of mud buildup. So any of these backgrounds and atmospheres, they need to be cut at like 200, 250 hertz so that any of those low mids do not play at all. It sounds like a lot of those frequencies are building up. Lots of reverb is building up. Lots of different types of reverbs are building up, and it's just becoming a mess. So you really need to dial back down all the space, dial back down the background noise. Make sure this background information is rhythmically going with what's playing in the foreground. If it's not, then we have two different rhythms playing, and all of a sudden everything is gone off the haywire. I want that. We need the haywire to stay on point. So check every single bass lead, look at every reverb. All your bass lead reverbs should be short decay timing, like 400 milliseconds to 600 milliseconds. Cool effects stuff can be longer reverbs, but you have to cut the lows. Make sure all your frequencies are cut at the end of the signal flow with any tracks with reverb on it. And that will help clean up all that space in the background. And use volume to turn those things down. Make sure that the foreground are the bass leads, the main sounds, and of course your drums. That'll help. That shall help a lot. Because right now we can't focus on the sick dubstep call and response pattern that you made. You have some sick sounds going on, but they're being drowned and all the other stuff. Work on that. It'll help. Up next, we have Blueprint. Blueprint is from Alvo. Blueprint. Get it done. Blue. That is Blueprint by Avo or Avo. I don't know. I don't really know yet. If you want to put the pronunciation in the chat, you can put the pronunciation in there. Nevertheless, this is some rhythm function type ordeal we got going on here. We're measuring about -9 LUFS at the drop. So here, we're barely peeking into the single-digit LUF range. When a song like this is, mastered out in final, it should be around maybe like -7, -6 LUFS, and it could get louder than that as well. Right now, this is a little bit too quiet, so you want to make sure you layer your basses a lot more so that it gets louder and your basses sound thicker. Right now, we're having an issue where the intro and the build-up are the same volume, same energy and intensity as the drop, so it kind of sounds like they're both the same thing. There should be a perceived difference in energy levels from the intro, from the build-up to the drop. The drop should feel like it's louder, heavier, and layered more than the previous sections before it. One of the main things here is that there's no like section before the drop. So there's not really any song structure going on here, no type of structure. And if you don't understand how to structure your songs, you want to bring in a reference track so that you can see how we all organize the intros, breakdowns, and build-ups. We go in specific like 8-bar timings, 4-bar sections, and this is all meant so that we can DJ it and play it out in the clubs and the festivals. If we can't DJ it, if we can't play it out, then we just won't play it. So you want to make sure that the structure is like 16-bar drop, 32-bar drop. You want to make sure you're going by 8-bar sections. Towards the end of your drop, it starts to just randomly move on to the end, and there's no sort of structure. So you want to focus on that because the audience has to know where they're going. You can't just go on random in random places, or else it'll feel more like ambience rather than like a structured dance record. One of the problems too is if you listen, the loudest perceived sound during your drop should be your bass, the rhythm basses, but it's actually your hi-hat, which is it's an issue. It's a big issue, and it's easy to tell how the issue is happening by listening to your hi-hat and comparing it to the rest of your song. Like your kick should for sure be bigger than that hi-hat, and then your basses should undoubtedly be way bigger and fuller than your hi-hat. So look at all the space in your rhythm basses, make sure you have a good mono and stereo signal, make sure there's not too much reverb, and start layering your basses more so that they can pop out more in the mix. That drop got to be prominent. You can make it prominent that way. Alright, cool. Up next, we got G-Shit, Backlat Remix, Sever Flip. Pronounced Sever. Oh. Sever. Sever. Like the slice. Obviously. I should have known.
Vegas nigga raving since the 5th grade. Extension record cutting like a switchblade. I got a grip, tell me what you need, bitch. That's the wicked genius. All I drop is G shit. G shit.
Hola, droppy G. Alright, for sure. That's Sever coming in with G Shit Black Cat remix Sever Flip. You already know what it is. So, I can tell that the majority of this intro is the other song. And then once we get here, you start to come in. So, I want you to realize that nowadays, we're entering 2024 tomorrow, literally. Whoa, time, future time. For about 2 to 3 years, Laze and Resurrect, and you know, they've been doing these patterns and these rhythms, and it's a very simple yet effective pattern where we have a sustained plane, a quarter note bass, usually wide, sustains in the middle. And this is a very popular rhythm and call and response pattern. So like fake out. So I have to applaud you. Your call and response is there, you know, and it's one of the hardest things to teach people to do. So like growl to the response. Then we have our fill section. Back to the response. Another fill section. Call. Response. See, this is effective. And back 3 years ago, people never really heard this type of movement and rhythm, so it would get people going crazy. But now it seems like every song is starting to sound like this. So when I hear a song that sounds like this, it automatically just sounds very unoriginal, and it's starting to sound repetitive. Unfortunately, so many songs are starting to sound the same, and it's unfortunate, man. So like if you want to be unique, if you want to be different, you're going to have to do more than this, because this is starting to seem very simple, very lazy. There's a lot of different options that you have for these sustained basses. They don't have to sound exactly the same as everything that you're hearing from Excision and what's playing at Lost Lands. If you do something different, which there's an infinite amount of tones and sustains, there's an infinite amount of ways to layer, then you can head into a direction that feels different, that feels unique and new. Because right now, these calls and responses are very, you know, basic. And it's starting to get to the point where all the artists are going to sound like the same. So you'll throw in one of these tracks with like the long sussy, and then it's going to be like, oh, dang, whose track is that? It could be any of them. So you're going to have to start focusing on getting new sounds, new effects, to start making your own sound. You need to hear some new stuff. So in your calls, like your call does not have to be an old Excision growl. It can be something new. It can be something very unique to you. Something as small as that, changing your calls into that response, will create a huge dynamic shift. It'll create new vibes, new energy, and that's what you want to focus on. Now that you know your song structure, you know how to layer, you're getting to that point where you're starting to know a lot of things. So now you need to focus on making your sound. You can't sound like all these other tracks, especially now, because we're getting to the point where you're getting played a lot. And Lord, if you remix a song, you should try to pick one where they're not using vocals like this. These are very cheesy vocals. Now, it was like a new thing to put vocals in dubstep songs and stuff, but our future is going to be bringing professional recorded vocals and people who actually know how to rap and that are saying like regular things, you know. It's starting to become old, man. And if we're going to change the tide, you want to start getting in people that actually know how to rap. And if you have the option to choose the vocals, you should. You should definitely not. Definitely shouldn't flip a remix where they flipped a song. They already chose a bad song, and then you're choosing the song again. Like just all I drop is G shit. Like, that's what he's saying. Raving since the 5th grade. It's hard to speak it out, honestly. Excision record. Cutting like a switchblade. I don't know, man, like rap and hip hop and rapping and stuff. I don't know. I came from Miami. I was with the rappers. I was recording the rappers every day. They would never say stuff like this. And I don't know who's rapping. I don't know who's doing this. You know, one of the only people that can get away with saying cheesy stuff is Virus Syndicate. And that's because of the tone of his voice, you know, the accent that he has makes him unique. So I don't know. Things to think about, right? It's not that hard to hit up a rapper on Instagram nowadays and get him to say 16 bars of something actually G and have him say G shit in a deep, dark tone that matches your song rather than have like a cheesy, whiny voice transition into what should be something really heavy and dark. And, you know, Murata would never have someone saying stuff like that. Try to find maybe you know, a new drop it like it's hot. You took that, man. You could take anything. Skrillex took. Just go on TikTok, find yourself something new, get it done. Up next, we got Play by Hit Play. Oh, Hit Play, play. Done deal. Hitting play. Is that Saturn? Where the ring's at?
Bring their souls to me.
Bring the souls. Okay, I hit play. That was Play by Hit Play. Nice. Getting it done. Cool. So there's some things that I noticed right away. And one of the main things is this song sounds pretty quiet in general. Like during our drop at the end, for example, it's -8 LUFS, which is pretty quiet for this type of rhythm function joint. So I'd definitely work on getting it louder. But one of the main things that seems to be going on is like maybe over compression. It seems like all the sounds are squished together and it almost feels like there's not enough space for them to breathe. It's very evident you can tell this is happening by when you hear the sword right here.
Bring their souls to me.
Where's the sword at? Right here.
Bring their souls to me.
Right there. All right, so this sword you can tell is like normal volume, normal dynamics. You can hear the highs, mids, and lows properly. Pay attention to that. But everything around it seems squished, almost like it's in a little tunnel and all the highs can't come out. That's what over compression can do. So you got to be careful with putting compressors on your masters and groups and stuff. And you do want to use buses as well. If you send all your sounds, like this is a lot of tracks. If you send all of it to your master at one time, it will become very crowded and nothing has room to breathe anymore. You have to be very careful when doing things like that. Like listen to the volume of all this. And then when we get to this section, this should be one of the loudest parts of your song. This is the build-up. In our build-up, we're not even in the single digits. We're at -10. So this is telling us right away that this is a very, very quiet. You should be right under the volume of your drop. If your drop's at -5 LUFS, then your buildup should be like -6 LUFS. Just right, peeking right under. Boom. Hit the drop, it's a little bit louder. You're good to go. That's what will create energy, create dynamics. Make sure you look at your compressors, start to layer more. You can layer multiple basses at one time, multiple snares and kicks to get things louder if you need to. Sample choice is big as well. The sub as well sounds like it's having some issues. Like it feels like notes are overlapping on top of each other. So you want to check your voicings. Need to clean up this sub. I have a lot of videos that show how to make subs, clean subs. There's stuff on my Patreon too. If you don't have the time to make it, you can just go download it on the Patreon. There's multiple subs that are made and you can try to replicate those as if you have like 6 voices or something, then the subs aren't going to be playing right. Got to make sure your triggers are on properly. Lots of different little things that could be going on. All right, cool. Up next, we have Mipsy with Moisture Absorber. Moisture Absorber by ShamWow Enforcer. Okay. All right, guys. I've never said this sentence, actually, so. Haven't been on Bableton in a long time. Let him know, he says. Let him know. Oh, this sounds quite quaint. Introducing Nipsey, the 1-time, 2-time, 3-time OG boss player. He is a Shrek boy. He submitted a Shrek track. That's Nipsey. ShamWow Enforcement. Where's the endorsement? where's my sham wow? Dang. That's some moisture. Yup. Absorbing moisture with a one time, with a one time, with a two time, one time.
This dick is nuts.
You're listening to Travel Hawk Radio with a one-time to Jana. Dipsy with the absorption enfortion.
It just does the work. Why do you want to work twice as hard? Doesn't drip. Doesn't make a mess. Wring it out. You wash it in the washing machine. Made in Germany. You know the Germans always make good stuff. You can cut it in half. Use one as a bath mat. Drain your dishes with the other one. Use one as a towel. Olympic divers, they use it as a towel. Look at it. Dry. Put a wet sweater. Roll it up. It dries your sweaters. Here's some cola. Wine, coffee, cola, head stain. Not only is the damage going to be on top, there's your mildew. That is going to smell. See that?
That is gonna smell, my guy. Who? You really trying to do a whole ShamWow commercial at the end of this, man? I got you, man. You almost got me, but I got you, man. You ain't gonna do it. You crazy. That's Mipsy coming in with Moisture Absorber times ShamWow Enforcer. Naturally, Mipsy coming in with something unique, different, and something I've never heard before. He's coming in with some house music. I'm feeling like I'm in Miami, walking to the Italian restaurant, you know, naturally. Listen to the all right, so all jokes aside, you need a pre-drop, my boy. What in the Sam Houston? Why are you just throwing us into the drop like this? You know better. That smallest bit of work, the tiniest bit of effort, with adding a dynamic shift from loudness to quiet back to boom, would make this a lot harder. And then on top of this, the bass line needs thumping actions. What do I mean? Bass line sub needs to be fatter, thicker. It shouldn't be lost in the mix. It should be controlling the mix, controlling the movement. That's what house music does, man. That bass line's everything. But the sub's lost, unfortunately. So baseline thumping actions, score 2 out of 10. And then right here, this is a nice breakdown. This is really nice. I gotta applaud you. Good transitions between phrases. Very nice breakdowns. Very emotional. That's really everything it is. If you're feeling something, if you're moving, then the music is working. And so far, we got a lot of that. Lots of movement. Lots of danceable grooves. No dubstep, but that's okay. You know, we don't need dubstep, but you need a freaking pre-drop. Crazy. All right, get done. Looks like up next we got a soda track. It's called Coke One by Tang's Baby. Flipper. Coke One. Let's see if Flipper has a chance with Coca-Cola, or is it only for pandas? I mean, polar bears. All right.
369 girls wanna drink wine. Tell the man not to waste your time. The man broke, the man he a joke, so you gotta get loose with the Henny and the Coke. 3, 2, 1, girls wanna have fun. If the man don't dance, he's done. Tell the move on, get the man gone. Now can I get a Coke?
Can I get a Coke? One, two, three, and 4. Roll with a song, with a scene, with a ball, with a wing, with a pound, with a pound, with a pom, 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 with a Henny and a Coke, like.
Now can I get a Coke?
Coke. Okay, that's pretty cool, man. I gotta say, dope idea. This would have been super sick, but two things. First off, I don't know if you just sent it like this or this is how you start it, but it sounds like a mess at the beginning. It sounds like 3 songs are playing. We need there to be a transition into what's going on here. So hopefully you just sent me the build up forward. Anyways.
Now can I get a cool.
That's a really good idea, right? Keep it going, keep it fading. We tease in the bass, like you're preparing us for something sick right here, right? But then when we get to the drop, unfortunately, you don't deliver in the amount of energy that you're building up. You built up so much energy, but then you deliver maybe half the energy. Why half the energy? The sounds are dope, sound design sick, subs there. So why half the energy? Because there's no call and response. The only phrase that sounds unique is this first phrase. Every other phrase after that, the energy level dies down and slowly goes down over time because it starts to sound very repetitive. Remember, if it's repetitive, that means it's predictable. That means if I hear this and then all of a sudden I hear the same exact thing here, my brain is already predicting that these are going to sound the same. And if they do, I already knew what happened. So why should any energy levels build up if I literally know what's going to happen next? The point of music is to, be interesting, be engaging, be spontaneous. If there was call and response, so like a bass right here, it'd be like, bong, cha, cha. And then, bong, bong. So you can cut out. You have a call here, bong, dun, dun. And then another call right here. And going back and forth between the different calls and responses would keep that minimum. That's enough that you can do to keep the listener be like, oh, the news is always happening. I have no idea what's going on. And then they get lost in the music. That's the whole goal. Get people lost in the music, because as soon as they're lost, stress goes away. They're in a meditation state. Life is really, really good. That's why we listen to music, for that feeling. So please, for heaven's sake, use some call and response, my boy. Okay, let's go. We're up next to Satan _4 by bio from the Sorcerer's Crew. Look at this cover art. Absolutely fantastic. All right, guys. Seems a little bit demonic, but you know what? We're walking in. Open the door to the darkness. Hold up. Nice. Wowzers. Okay. Where's the applause button? Clap, 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 clap. Dang, I need an applause button up in here. Good job. Good job, good job. Talk about getting lost in the music, right? Jesus Christ. I said walk into the darkness, and then we right away stepped into this. Sick. And then, I don't know if you guys can tell, but the dynamic shifts are so intense. From loudness to quiet, to loudness to quiet. It's happening a lot. He's doing a lot of amazing stereo imaging techniques where he's going from left to right. You can see it happening in the imager. This is very rare. God, just look at that. We're literally moving from all. There's so much movement in this, and then everything sounds very clean. Even that OG rhythm quarter note flow, a nice offbeat bass. Bro, that's clean. Each phrase starts to change rhythmically. You can see new basses are sprinkled in, slowly added to add different realms of movement. God, and he like, the way he ends the phrases, like stops it almost. Low abrupt stop, goes to silence, adds a frog, and then the dubstep bass sounds like a frog. It's just very clever. I love it. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but this pitch bend, there's pitch bend in the sub. The sub is not just going, it's going like the pitch is making it move, the sub. And he found the perfect balance, you know. It's hard to add this much silence in your songs, but this is like just enough. There's not too much silence, not too much loudness. It's very good. Dynamics are insane in this, and that's what makes it, you know, psychedelic almost. You get lost in the music, lost in the sounds. Very good. Very good job. The beginning. This section sounds a little bit muddy. So I would definitely clean this up to, I mean, dude, if your drop's this clean, you can make your intros this clean too. So control the mud. Good job, man. Very nice. You can keep the mud at the beginning here. Kind of adds to the darkness, right? This is where we want some grunginess, want some gritty muddiness. This is a time, but once we get here and change phrases, you can start to clean it up more, and then we get led into ultimate cleanliness. And this is a good vocal, right? But it's overused. If you want this song to be super unique, replace that with something that activates a theme of this song, and that'll take the song to the next level for sure. And it won't just be a regular song, it'll be super unique. Off the chain. Up next, we have Spaced Out with Cosmic Doom, E minor 140. Naturally.
Cosmic whispers echo. Adrift in night's abyss. Galactic dust veils the void's merciless eyes. Echoes spin tales of creation and demise. Whereby cosmic blink.
Who said that?
A flicker in the dark. A transient spark. Facing cosmic doom. Cosmic doom. Bye.
Oh, behave. Jesus.
Dark matter holds the architect's design. We search for meaning. We reach into the cosmic mind. Through the darkness.
It's a dark town. What's in life? How about darkness? Oh, Sam Houston. That's Cosmic Doom by Spaced Out in E minor at 140 beats per minute. I must say, you've submitted this song many times. This is one of the times where I'm like freaking out because this section here, you got me spiced up like a McFlurry. Let's check it out. It's funny because when you listen to it just by itself like that, it's like not as much energy as when it hit me at the beginning. And the reason because of that is because when you listen in full context, when you go from this build up, so like super loud, it was loud for a long time, right? We just played the whole drop. We go into a build up, which is super loud. And then finally we get a break from the loudness and enter this range of quiet, filtered out. And then when you hear, you're like settling down just for a little bit, and then you get thrown right back in. That dynamic shift makes this section feel so much harder than any other section, and it's really good. Good job. The thing is this section kind of seems like it's trying to do something similar, but the timing is off, the flow's off. It almost sounds like you were making this only listening to the drop and not even listening to how all of this flowed from one another. You got to be careful because, I mean, you can tell that this is an extra section that shouldn't be there. You fake this out here, you should drop it, but instead you keep faking it and it doesn't make sense. So you want to fix your timing, and then on the flow, like there's no sub right there. So it goes call and then response. When the snare hits, response. There should be sub. This should be the heaviest impact, not the call. The flow and song structure needs to be changed so that this flows better. But lastly, your main bass lead. You can't tell it's there. It's starting to sound very lost, almost filtered out. Your guns. Sounds like they're EQ'd, filtered out, maybe over-compressed. Make sure you're using my templates so that you can get all these loud sounds sounding clean. Otherwise, they're all going to be squished together at the master. If you are using my template, then you really need to break down each layer, start to layer more, and get these to cut out. They need to be bright, loud, clear, and heavy in the mix. Right now, they're very hidden in the mix. You can tell by the sustain that's louder than this. Even the drums are louder than that bass. So you have to compare your mid basses to the other elements of your track so you can start to balance and mix everything proper. A really good song structure, nice danceable rhythms. This is coming together. The vocals sound good in the intro. It's nice. Very good. Keep working at it. It's so close to finish, man. Up next, we have Vlad with Bach Prelude Melodic Dubstep. Look at that amazing cover art. That's a mountainous time. It's done. Huh? I am Bach. I make melodic dubbies. Where's my piano at? Where's my orchestra at? Hey! Vlad, you don't have to do him to him like that, man. Oh boy. Boy, Vlad, come on. Let's go. Give it up for Vlad coming in hot with a Bach Prelude melodic dubstep. What a great take on Bach's Prelude. I don't even know which Bach song this is. I just know I've heard it before. And when I heard it, it was low energy, right? Low energy. But when Vlad redid it, high energy. And he did it proper. He was able to layer the same melodic elements of the original and balance out his layers. The dynamic shifts are amazing. There's like we're moving from sound to sound, and it's pretty impressive. This is probably the best thing I've heard from Vlad so far. It's really cool because like there's only one other person that I know who does this type of amazing music, and his name is Lodian. And it's like a little mini Lodian is coming out of Vlad. And I want to, it's good. I hear lots of reverb, but I don't hear your sounds washed out in reverb. It seems you're able to control your space really well, and I'm happy to hear that. Song structure's all really perfect. Really good breakdowns. Very good energy, man. I must say, lots of emotion, lots of energy. This is what you want out of a good song. And on top of that, you get some nostalgic and, you know, like really, really old vibes from the Bach. The way he used his progressions and stuff, it's feelings that have lasted forever. And for you to redo it, very nice, very clean. Good job. Oh, wait. Is it oh wow or oh whoa? Oh wow. Oh gosh, we're going to need a pronunciation. So this is a double. We already played his for the first. This is oh waf. Oh woof. Oh wow. Oh wow. How you say it? Let me look in this chat. Oh whoa. Oh whoa. Sounds of mayhem. Oh, let's get it done. Look at that image. That's a wiggly.
The blood of my friends is on my hands. What you see before you is evil in its
Okay, we got oh whoa coming in with Sounds of Mayhem. Now, I see the direction that you're kind of trying to go towards, you know, with the heavy metal screams and the heaviness and the guns. But there are things that are going on in the song which fall short from it being, you know, complete or full or danceable. You know, one of the main things that we want to be able to do here with this music is go, how do the kids say it? Feral? Go fucking crazy. What does this mean exactly? This means that we are dancing in a headbang motion like this. Now, what I teach all the time is our head will bang and go down like this to the 3. So if you zoom in and you look at a bar from 27 to 28, for example, you'll see the 0.3. Your snare is always at the 0.3. Our heads bang at the 0.3. When you're rhythmically creating your drops, usually the call would be playing, the snare would hit, and then the response would then go. That's how we create movement and make people dance. Right now in your song, you go straight into a response pattern, and there's not really an introductory bass or a call bass. You basically just go straight into the drop, and it's just the guns right away. Because of this, after the first 4 bars, everything else after that becomes very predictable, very repetitive. And because of that, energy levels die down rather than stay constant or increase. And they need to either stay constant or increase if you want people to keep dancing. We don't dance at the first 4 bars because there's no transition. If this was a fake out. If this was a proper fake out, you would remove a majority of the frequencies, like the lows and the mids, and only leave the highs, for example. And then when we hit here, all the frequencies basically play at the same time, and we get huge impactful feeling because lows, mids, highs play at the same time. And the last 2 seconds before that had no lows, mids, and highs. That's essentially the trick that you're trying to do here, but it wasn't effective because of that. So it seems like this is just one run-on section. Since this is a build-up to a fake-out to a drop, this is the most important part of the song. This is where all the energy resides. You have to make sure that the build-up doesn't sound the same as the drop, like the same intensity level or loudness.
What you see before you is evil.
So as soon as that hits, you start with a bass. Maybe you go like bomb wop, something that moves, or boom, or bah. There's so many different combinations. But you cut it out, it's like boom, boom. Then you cut out another section for your call right here, and then another thing plays. Boom, boom. And you basically are going back and forth between call and response. So just work on that, and it'll make everything a lot heavier, a lot higher energy. Then you got flow, my guy, and work on your sub. Your sub needs to be fat. Type in Dripment sub in the YouTube search. Download one of my recent subs, like the Sisto sub, and you'll never have to worry about your sub because you can't feel your sub in this and this bass music. Got to make sure that sub is super dominant. That's to dominate the mix, my guy. All right, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick. Give me 1 minute, and we're gonna get back into all the fun times. And introducing the main attraction. Nasta and Hyper coming in with Greed. Ha 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 ha. Who's greedy? Who's greedy? The world may never know. All right, that is Snasta and Hyper coming in with Greed. Snasta is a regular on these submissions, but I must say, this did not sound like a Snasta song. It really sounded like someone else, a completely different person. It might have been the influence of Hyper in the mix, but this is a very squashed, it's like we're listening to the drop and all of your sounds are like dying for space to breathe, space to room, space to live. It's like your sub is taking up 80% of the mix and all the other sounds are squashed in the background, all between. This part specifically, though, is very abnormal for you to keep in the mix. It's extremely muddy. There's no space. On top of that, there's no call and response. So you're really just playing a noise. It's quite distasteful. You know, there's no call and response for us to move. There's a lot of mud, so the frequencies aren't soothing. It doesn't sound clean or clear because the clarity of the sound sounds almost filtered. The way it's mixed doesn't, like I said, the sounds don't have space to breathe. So automatically everything's going to feel like it's like trapped in this little bubble. And that's a problem. If you're not using the template, then you really should, because you can avoid these mixing mistakes just right away by using the template. Otherwise, you would have to work really hard on your compression and your mixing and get things dialed down if you're not going to use a template. Yeah, so for a very long time, we have no flow, essentially. We start to get some flow, right? Some movement. And we get here, and finally we have some rhythmic flow and movement that makes us want to dance. But listen to the main sounds, compare it to the sub. It's like our sounds are lost in the background, and it's unfortunate because we have some nice sound design, nice sounds, good rhythms going on here, but it all sounds like it's contained in a little bubble, lost. Look, it's -4 LUFS. This is loud enough, so it's most likely you guys are sending all your signals to the master without good EQ cleaning. Just make sure you be careful with the mix. Because this song could have been, you know, really high up there, but instead is lost in the frequencies. Lost and drowned in the frequencies. Okay. For sure. Up next, we got Lodian and Dreadful with Lotus Black. Naturally, unconditionally, and awesomely, Lodian and Dreadful are collabing. They come up with Lotus Black. Let's see if they deliver. Oof. Lotus Black by Lodian and Dreadful. Very sick, man. It started to sound pretty fire towards the end. So at the beginning, it sounds really muddy over here. You can kind of see, like when we zoom out, we're starting to brick. There's too much compression. Everything's getting squished together. You can't tell the difference dynamically between all your sounds, and because of that, it's just becoming one brick of noise. And that you really can't let that happen. Like, these kicks should be popping out. Also, there's not any build-up structure really going on. It's just like a drum loop. There should be, like, you have to be building tension. You have to be building energy. The dynamic shifts is just very odd here. You know, we start to build tension with all the elements removed. Seems like there's extra time in here that shouldn't be. So basically, this section is starting to build up energy. The energy dies down. You attempt to bring it back up, but by the time we're here, like half of the energy is gone, and it's just not enough tension buildup for us to get relieved with like a hard drop. This call right here, very nice transition into the next response, but as soon as the response hits, it's just mud. The clap alone is taking up a huge part of the mix, and then we have like 4 other elements playing at the same time. It starts to become very messy. So you really need to look at each individual track, see exactly what the EQs are doing, see exactly where they live in the stereo image, and start to do the detailed work. You know, when you have this many elements layering, you can't just randomly have them playing. Each one has to be placed specifically in the stereo image, in the frequency spectrum, and needs to have flow, because otherwise it'll sound muddy and crunched up like this. Towards the end, things start to spread out and feel better. But when we get here, it becomes too empty. Rhythmically speaking, we only have the downbeat, the kick and the snare. There should be offbeat basses. It should be like make it go 140, right? Because if we hit the drop and we're dancing in 70, which is halftime, the impact becomes it's just non-existent. All you'd have to do is add an offbeat bass, which comes in like in this section. Hear that right here? But even that offbeat bass is so low volume, so low impact that it doesn't do enough until we get here. Then new basses come in, start to fill up that offbeat rhythm. The rides. Just the rides get us dancing more. Then we have cool call and response patterns, which leads to dynamic shifts. And this starts to become a well-structured call and response pattern that makes you want to dance, that makes you get lost. Starts to sound nice. New basses start to come in. Like all this stuff should be happening a lot earlier in the song, for sure. And then just like, look, when you zoom out, see how long your intro and build up, like your drop doesn't happen until here. That's kind of crazy to have someone listen to this much of the song and then only get like a little sprinkle of drop. You know what I mean? Doesn't make sense. So you can feel it when listening to it, that this is too long and this is too short. So work on those things, and then it's going to sound a lot more professional, get people dancing a lot more. These last sections are amazing too, so do more of that. Super sick. Good job though, guys. You know, I'm really, you guys are really good. So I'm at the point where I just have to like make you perfect. We're forging samurai swords right now. Getting forged in fire. Let's get it done. Up next, we have Outajinx with Please, Sir. Please, Sir.
It's funny how things change in an instant. Doesn't take much thinking, but everyone can feel it in the air. Do you know I am fading from you? I can't say it, I hate the truth. 'Cause it
Okay, that was pretty vibey. We'll give it a little run back. It's like some chill, vibey trap music. I love the sine wave. So when it comes to a sub is essentially a sine wave. And then we add distortion, saturation. We add different things to add different types of harmonics to the sub. But when you do too much, then you lose the sine wave. If you can only hear the sub and not feel the sub, that's an issue. You really want to feel the sub more than hear it. That's what the low frequencies do. And it seems like your 808 there is sub frequencies playing, but they're very low. They're not as intense as they should be. You could easily have two layers. One that's like your mid sub with all the stuff you hear, and then you can get your low sub, turn that up, make it more impactful, a little bit cleaner. Now, when you're doing a song like this, you really want to add more movement by incorporating silence a lot more, incorporating different ways that your fills can transition into these sections. Like if we heard this and we keep playing it, it starts to sound repetitive. So each one of these new sections where there's a chance to add a lot of movement between the phrases, you should have different sounds that the listener stays engaged and is always getting something new. The rhythm of it being like this will be enough to make it a good call, but the call should be slightly different each time. Cool, chill. I can tell you have the music theory. Your music theory is getting better, so that's always good news. Job? That's Out Jinx with Please Sir. Please Sir. Next we have the infamous Dreadful with Azazel. How do you say that? Azazel. Dreadful with Azazel. Ooh. Alright, so listening to this, unfortunately, it sounds very squashed. Very like there's literally no dynamics. Like I mentioned earlier in your previous submission with Lodian, if I zoom out and I see a brick of sound, this means like visually there's no dynamics. We can see it. But when you're listening to it, you can tell there's no dynamics because you can't tell the difference between something being wide or something being in the middle. You can't tell if something is quiet. Everything sounds squished together and like it's one sound, basically. Compressors do just that. They squish things together. The point of my template in using buses is so that a beginner or an intermediate person can easily put songs in and make sure that they retain dynamics. If you use the Murte method, he's not using a template. He's sending all of his sounds straight to the master. But there's a reason that he's able to make it sound clean. And it's because his ear is really, really well trained. He knows exactly how to cut frequencies. He knows exactly how to place things in the stereo field. And most importantly, he knows how to use compressors and how important and how different every compressor is. When I hear songs like this, I know that you're using compressors wrong. I mean, this is not how music should sound. It should sound like it has dynamics. It can't just be loud. The goal of this is not to be loud. The goal is to be loud and clean. It's really easy to make things loud. It's really hard to make it loud and clean at the same time. So yeah, if you've been producing for a long time, and if you're not able to use compressors properly or fix these mixing issues, then you should just get the template and start learning from there. You can understand how to properly separate frequency spectrum, properly separate stereo image, and properly use compressors and limiters so that you never have these decisions, because it comes into the details. Each individual track has to be properly tamed, which then leads to a group, which then leads to a bus, which then leads to the master. This is all audio engineering stuff, which is like basic audio engineering knowledge. So study some audio engineering. You're at the point where your songs are getting song structure wise, sound design wise good. Now you need your mixes to sound clean, or else these songs won't be able to compete with what's playing at the festivals. Remember, loud and clean, not just loud. Use a template if you need. Hit me up if you need help. You're not alone. This is a very common issue, and this is stuff that the audio engineering schools, this is like stuff they teach within the first couple months. So you want to learn dynamics, practice dynamics, master dynamics. Up next, we have Extronics coming in with, wait a minute, work in progress. Check it out.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Okay. Wait a minute. This is interesting. It's not tearout, and it's from Extronics.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Overall, the mix sounds, you know, decent. The sub's nice, clean. It's loud enough. It's just very odd that you're using such a repetitive rhythm. Like, if you're teasing us with this,
Wait a minute.
and the only thing that you change is like the pitch of that synth lead, that's cool and all, but after the first 4 bars right here, then it just becomes predictable. Then I know it's basically going to do the same rhythm all throughout the drop, and because of that, energy levels die down. And even when we get to this section where it starts to switch up, it's doing the same rhythm. All you do is just make the first couple hits like dun dun instead of dun. But overall, if you take a step back, it's the same exact danceable rhythm that you gave us here. Right? 1, 2, 3. At least you're going, you know, regular time, 140. We're dancing to the regular beat, so that's good. But it's just the same predictable pattern over time. Call and response is super important, guys. If you simply use a call and then a response, then you won't sound repetitive. It sounds unlike you, my guy. It really does. A lot of rhythm is based off of these repeatable repetition. All these different patterns are used, but then the sound design is the main focus when you use all these repeatable patterns. So you would basically have your sounds move over time. You know, in rhythm, you'll hear different sections of layers activate, or like automation movements happen. But with yours, it just stays constant. The tonality stays constant. So there's really no movement. And because of that, it becomes stale over time, unfortunately. These are easy fixes. You just need to put in that extra work so that each phrase sounds unique. Show? Go back and forth between frequency spectrum, go back and forth between stereo image. I mean, if you're trying to make rhythm, then use a reference track for someone's rhythm song and see how the pros are doing it. Because you've submitted a lot of tracks which are very high quality. You have learned a lot, but now that you're trying a different genre, it seems like you're going back in time when really you shouldn't be. You should be loading a reference track, seeing what they do, emulate what they do so that you can at least match the standard energy levels of these rhythm tracks. And then boom, from there, you be yourself, create your own tracks, and then be unique. You know, that's how we do it. You got this, dog. Up next, we got Bellatrix with FF Intro Newest 101. The newest 101? The newest.
This is the pre-drop vocal. second drop.
Boom, boom, boom. All right, that is the FF intro, newest 101 by Bellatrix. Okay, so there's a lot of things in this song that actually need to be worked on. Unfortunately, there's no call and response or phrasing structure really going on in this song. So because of that, it sounds just like random basses being played rather than a organized, structured drop. And that's a big issue because as soon as the drop starts, so as soon as the drop starts, we don't really have any call and response structure. It just goes straight into basses. It goes bam, 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 bam. It's just moving up, down, left, right. You can't tell that there's a difference between a call section and a response section. Usually there would be like a little silence in between the call section. Maybe like bam. This would be the call, and then we get loaded into the response. But instead, we just have the basses play. So there's not any section where it seems like there's a difference. It just seems like a run-on bass lead. So because of this, it becomes repetitive and predictable. And over time, as this continues to play, the energy levels die down. The sustains in the background are also very low volume and mixed in a way where they're kind of taking up space rather than complementing the other basses. There needs to be a complete restructure of the way that you work on your phrases. Each 4 bars should include a call, a response, and a fill. Those 4 bars would then be duplicated to make your 8 bars, which is your main 8. Create a small variation in the next 4. And when you duplicate that 8 bars, you have your full 16 bar drop, which will then be structured in a way so that each phrase flows into one another. Each phrase is slightly different so that the audience stays engaged. And then also, if you're playing the same tone, like let's say the same high frequency or the same low frequency at the same time, then our ears start to adjust and get tired of that same frequency. You have to go back and forth between like lows and mids, maybe in the call, then with some highs in the response. And you can go back and forth between different frequencies. And that's how you'll make them dance as well. But yeah, different techniques like that we'll have to work on, as well as layering the basses. These are very weak basses. There should be at least 4 layers. If you're making dubstep, we need to make sure these are thick and heavy enough so that they have to create as much intensity to make someone move their whole head up and down. Cool. And as you see here, like, just because it's loud doesn't mean that we're reaching the right levels, right? It could be loud, but if it's not filled with the proper frequencies at this luff level, then there's definitely not a point of getting that loud. We don't want to just have high frequencies playing at 3 luffs. That's literally ear piercing, and it becomes damaging to the ears. Any sound higher than -6 luffs is damaging to the ears, by the way. So we're constantly damaging our ears while listening to music. We have to be careful. We have to be very mindful of the frequencies that we're playing at these loud volumes. Yeah, awesome. Good job, guys. Lots of nice submissions. Lots of things to work on. There's a lot of patterns, lots of call and response patterns, lots of mixing patterns, mud, over compression, lots of common issues that you guys are facing. If you need help with any of that, just hit me up in the DMs. Watch my videos. I go over these tips a lot. The Discord will help you as well, so join the Discord. Otherwise, you guys stay fresh, have a good day, and keep learning. Keep making music. Don't stop. Keep it real. Yeah.